What happens when hatred turns into longing and rivals become lovers? Today, we're diving into 15 gay enemies to lovers movies that prove one thing: love hits hardest when it starts with conflict. From brutal rivalries to slow burn desire, these stories will absolutely ruin you in the best way possible. And no, heated rivalry didn't invent the genre. So let's begin. God's Own Country. At first, Johnny and Gorge are nothing but oil and water. Johnny is cold, defensive, and emotionally shut down, while Gorge's quiet presence threatens everything Johnny avoids feeling. Their tension isn't just emotional, it's physical, raw, and painfully restrained. But as resentment slowly turns into trust, God's Own Country transforms into one of the most intimate enemies to lovers stories ever filmed. This isn't a loud romance, it's muddy boots, stolen glances, and love growing where neither of them expected it. You can watch this on Prime Video and Apple TV. Freefall. Mark and Kay don't just clash, they actively despise each other. As police officers competing for dominance, their rivalry is fueled by ego, jealousy, and toxic masculinity. But the line between hatred and desire blurs fast. Freefall captures the dangerous thrill of wanting the person you are not supposed to want, especially when that attraction threatens everything you have built. It's intense, messy, and emotionally suffocating in the best possible way. Freefall is streaming on Prime Video. The Stranger by the Lake. This is enemies to lovers, but with obsession and danger turned all the way up. Franck is drawn to Michelle despite knowing he is dangerous, possibly even lethal. What begins as suspicion and fear evolves into an irresistible pull neither can escape. Stranger by the Lake is hypnotic, erotic, and unsettling, proving that sometimes desire grows strongest where trust is weakest. You can watch this on Mubi and Apple TV. Bent. Set in a Nazi concentration camp, Bent turns enemies into lovers under unimaginable circumstances. Max and Horst begin as strangers forced into proximity, resentful, defensive, and emotionally guarded. But as survival strips everything else away, love becomes their final act of resistance. This is enemies to lovers at its most heartbreaking, showing how connection can bloom even in the darkest conditions. Watch this movie on Apple TV. Fair Haven. James returns to a conservative town trying to bury his past, and that includes his unresolved tension with Charlie. Their history is complicated, painful, and charged with resentment. What makes Fair Haven powerful is how conflict slowly melts into vulnerability. This isn't instant romance, it's two men confronting guilt, repression, and the love they tried to destroy. Watch Fair Haven on Prime Video. A Moment in the Reeds. Lee and Tarek begin as emotional opposites, clashing through silence, misunderstanding, and quiet judgment. Their resentment is subtle but constant. As they are forced to spend time together, the hostility softens into curiosity and then longing. A Moment in the Reeds is gentle, intimate, and beautifully paced, proving enemies to lovers doesn't need shouting to hit hard. Yes, this movie is also streaming on Prime Video. End of the Century. Ocho and Javi meet as strangers, but their emotional defenses instantly create distance. Pride, fear, and unspoken history turn attraction into resistance. As timelines blur, End of the Century becomes a quiet enemies to lovers, meditation on missed chances and emotional walls. It's soft, reflective, and deeply romantic. You can watch End of the Century on Netflix. Firebird. Sergei and Roman start as rivals within a rigid Soviet military system where vulnerability is forbidden. Their tension is sharp, controlled, and constantly threatening to explode. But beneath the rivalry lies longing neither can suppress. Firebird delivers a classic enemies to lovers arc filled with stolen moments, aching restraint, and devastating consequences. Watch Firebird on Prime Video. Brokeback Mountain. Ennis and Jack begin with emotional distance, distrust, and internalized fear. They're not enemies in words, but in resistance. What starts as discomfort turns into one of cinema's most iconic love stories. Brokeback Mountain is the ultimate proof that enemies to lovers doesn't always look like hatred. Sometimes it's silence, denial, and longing stretched across decades. You can watch Brokeback Mountain on Prime Video as well as Apple TV. The Thing About Harry. This charming rom-com stars Jake Borelli as Sam, a young gay man who is forced to share a ride with his high school enemy Harry, Nico Terho, when the two are both headed to a mutual friend's engagement party. Over the course of this ride, the two grow closer, especially when Sam discovers that Harry is pan. The Thing About Harry, often described as a sweet, cozy, Hallmark-style LGBTQ+ movie with natural progression and emotional depth, making it a beloved queer rom-com. You can watch this on Freeform. Eismayer. This rivals to lovers story is based on a true story. Sergeant Major Charles Eismayer, Gerhard Liebmann, is a rigid and disciplined drill instructor in the Austrian military who secretly lives his life as a gay man. But when Mario Falak, Luka Dimic, an openly gay recruit, won't bend to Eismayer's command, the two clash, though that tension eventually takes a turn for the passionate. Watch Eismayer on Tubi. Fire Island. Inspired by one of the greatest rivals to lovers stories in literature, Pride and Prejudice, Fire Island puts a steamy gay spin on the tale. In the film, Noah, Joel Kim Booster, and his friends are spending one last summer together on the island when he first clashes with, then falls for, the wealthy and aloof Will Conrad Ricamora. Watch this on Hulu. Red, White, and Royal Blue. This charming and sweet romantic comedy focuses on the rivalry turned passionate romance between Alex Taylor Perez, the son of the U.S. President, and England's Prince Henry, Nicholas Galitzine. At first they spar, then they kiss, and then, well, you'll just have to watch and see. Watch Red, White, and Royal Blue only on Prime Video. In From the Side. This British romance film follows rugby players Mark Newton, played by Alexander Lincoln, and his rival Warren, played by Alexander King, who begin a secret affair. This is a tender drama about Mark and Warren, rugby teammates from different backgrounds, who develop a passionate secret affair, challenging their identities and the team's brotherhood. It explores forbidden love, masculinity, and authenticity within the backdrop of sports culture, making it a poignant enemies to lovers story. You can watch In From the Side on Tubi. And now, of this list, Ten Dance, along with Red, White, and Royal Blue, is probably the most traditional rivals to lovers story. In it, Shinya Suzuki, played by Ryoma Takeuchi, is the Japanese champion of Latin dance who frequently and frustratingly finds himself repeatedly compared to a rival dancer, Shinya Sugiki, played by Keita Machida, the Japanese champion and second-ranked dancer in standard ballroom. But when the two end up teaming up, those differences melt away into a powerful, erotic attraction. Ten Dance is available to stream on Netflix. If enemies to lovers is your favorite trope, trust me, this channel is for you. Check out my other videos on gay romance, slow burns, and unforgettable LGBTQ+ stories. And don't forget to like, subscribe to Pride Reviews, and tell me which movie wrecked you the most. I'll see you in the next one.